Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. We are the Hebrew Israelites coming out here week in and week out to prophesy about the upcoming calamities of this world to come, and the current one at that. You know, we're going to speak on what just happened a day ago, this Iranian situation. And if we didn't say, we're going to say it again. First and foremost, giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. And yeah, so that's it on that, man. So let's get started. I usually don't start first. Anyway, yeah, so read that.
Okay, this is the article with Iran's Qasem Soleimani killed in U.S. air raid at Baghdad airport. General Qasem Soleimani, the head of Iran's elite Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC security apparatus, has been killed following a U.S. air raid at Baghdad's International Airport on Friday.
Right.
The White House and the Pentagon confirmed the killing of Soleimani in Iraq, saying the attack was carried out at the direction of the U.S. president.
Right. So
Donald
Trump, what he was saying is he was giving a speech. I believe it was 4 minutes plus long. And what he was saying in the beginning of that speech, he was saying he had to do it because the Americans, or one of the American military where he was threatened, so to speak, something to that effect. Or he was threatening the American military and also the people. So that's why he had to do it. And what he also said, he said something to the effect of, you know, we had to stop the war from starting the war, something to that effect, he said. But what Trump did, he just escalated it. He escalated this tension between the two, Iran and America. But meanwhile, we've been prophesying about this. We've been preaching about this for years. Okay, this is not something that we just decided to speak on. No, we spoke about this before, and this is all based on prophecy. So we're not surprised about this incident that occurred. All right, it's like I was watching this. I was watching the BBC, and the news anchor had many different individuals that came on the BBC, and they gave their little, you know, they spoke about what they thought about it. All right, and pretty much they were all upset about it. They were all upset about it, and then the news anchor, he was reading the what is it? What was on the what do you call it, man? When you right, the teleprompter. So he was reading what's on the teleprompter, and what was said on the teleprompter as he copied it. He said it was a proxy war, live on the BBC. So that's a way of saying that, look, England, pretty much the British government, they're saying, look, we're not interested in this. We're not business in this situation. We're not going to intervene with them. So now what you also had the general, what's his name? General, the British general. What's his name, man?
What's it? It's not Pompey.
His last name is Raab. Yeah, I'll tell you what, brother. Type in his name, something Raab. His last name is Raab.
British general.
So Raab was basically saying, you know, we need to de-escalate and calm this situation down. And he was also saying in the I was reading the article just hours ago, and what he was also saying is that what's his name? Right, Dominic Raab. So what he was saying is look, we don't. This is not a part of our interest. We're not going to deal with this situation. Okay, what he was saying, going back to what I'm going to say now, what he was saying is that him and Donald Trump were speaking about it. I think it was him and Mike Pompeo, or him and Donald Trump, they were talking about the situation, about de-escalating it. Okay? But according to Bible prophecy, this thing is going to escalate until they clash. And the two countries that are going to clash together, well, really, all of them are going to clash at the same time. Because you have China, which has interest in Iran. You have Russia that has interest in Iran. Okay, so when you're messing with Iran, you're messing with those two big boys. But just to remind those that are watching again, we had the Great Millstone, beginning with the Apostles of Great Millstone. We've been talking about this Iran situation.
That's right.
Years ago. And it's funny being that we're in the year 2020, the year of prophecy. Apostle Hall coined it. All right, our elder, our apostle coined that the year 2020 is the year of prophecy. So now what we're going to start seeing is we're going to start seeing prophecies come to action. They're going to manifest itself now. Okay? So yeah, let's read on, brother.
Donald Trump was aimed at deterring future attacks allegedly being planned by Iran. A 3-day national mourning period has been declared in Iran in honor of Soleimani. Iran leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei paid tribute to him as a martyr and vowed a vigorous revenge is waiting for the criminals.
Right.
Iranian President Hassan Rouhani echoed the supreme leader's threat of revenge,
Right.
while Foreign Minister Javad Zarif condemned the killing as an act of international terrorism.
So what's happening right now? What's occurring right now? You have a protesting going on. Even the people in Iraq are protesting. Now the BBC tells the masses of the people that they're actually protesting or celebrating his death, when in fact they're protesting because of his death. Because this guy was he was highly influential within that region. But because they've taken this guy out, it's equivalent to taking out, what is it, as they say, which is true, Mike Pompeo, the second in command. Okay? But also what I'm also going to put out there is that the nuclear war is not going to occur. And I mean that manifest-wise. I mean, we're already in World War III. But manifest-wise, it's not going to happen until other prophecies come into effect. But what the Lord is doing, the Lord is stirring up the pot amongst these nations, getting them prepared for that war. Because really, the entities that control this war from happening, they are the angels. They controlling every little thing. We can get that in the scripture too. So let's read on. Yeah, so we're going to bounce backwards and forwards. We're going to read the scriptures, and then we're going to read this article. Yeah, so we read that.
It's Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near.
Right,
Let
so
them come up.
the prophet Joel, which he was an Israelite, okay, he was prophesying about this situation. And now we're doing the same thing. We're preaching and we're proclaiming, as we've been doing for years, that war among the nations is going to occur. War amongst the heathen is going to occur. And now we're seeing everything that we've been saying is starting to happen. Okay, they already got the microchip out. The market, we've been speaking on that heavy for years. Now we're seeing the tensions of this third world's nuclear war arising out of nowhere now. And this is something else that we've been prophesying for years also. Okay? So this is why I say, and many will say, you know, in the realms of the truth, that know the truth, it really doesn't make a difference whether you believe or don't believe, because everything that we're saying out of this Bible, whether you believe in the Bible or you don't believe in the Bible, it's coming to pass anyway.
That's right.
So it really makes no difference. Somebody give me Romans 3 and 3. Because we've had many people come across us and say they don't believe, or they're atheists, or they're this religion, or they're that religion. But there's only truth. There's only one truth. Okay, you may be this religion, you may be that religion, but guess what? There's a truth. There's a one truth on the face of the earth, and that's the word of the Bible. If you can break it down correct. Yeah, Romans 3 and 3.
So this is Romans 3 and 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? God forbid.
Right.
Yea, let God be true, but every man a liar.
Right. Because the Most High has things in store to be set up. There's plans and there's prophecies that has to happen that He has written down by using the scribes and the prophets. So these things that are written in the Bible, okay, because the Bible is not just made out of prophecies, but it's made out of history, and it's also dealing with the laws, statutes, and commandments of our ancestors, the Israelites, the real Israelites. But we're dealing with the prophecy aspect of it. The prophecy aspect of it is what's taking place right now. Okay, you have many prophecies that were written down in the Old Testament and the New Testament. But what are we seeing? We're seeing the prophecies of war rising in this day and age. Meanwhile, people are saying that we're not living biblical times anymore. But what's happening on the news is a biblical thing. It was biblically spoken about. Go on, bro. Yeah.
So Romans 3 and 4. God forbid, yea, let God be true, but every man a liar.
Right, it says, let God be true, but let every man be a liar. So if a man is coming up with a different doctrine, or coming up with something that he believes, and it goes contrary to the words of the Lord, then the only thing he could be is a liar. So going back to what I'm saying, it makes no difference whether you believe in us or not, or whether you think we're a bunch of chimpanzees standing up here on the corner and just quoting scriptures. It don't make a difference. What makes it different is what we're saying. The truth. That's the only thing. People can walk past and say, oh, F you, put middle fingers up, do all kind of stuff, smile and giggle, laugh at us. But what we're saying is it's going to come to pass. And dealing with this Iranian situation is going to escalate. Okay, it's not going to die down. It's not going to, like what my man Raab said. What did the British secretary say? What's his first name, man? I forgot his first name. Dominic Raab. Like Dominic Raab, he said, we need to calm this down. We're going to de-escalate the situation. Okay, because this is not of our interest, he said. Okay? Go on, bro, go on.
This is Ezekiel 33 and 33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them.
Right, they're going to know that the prophet have been among them. Because we've been preaching this for years, man. Before what was done. Before, what is his name? Salamani have got destroyed. We've been preaching about this. But it's just, we just getting closer and closer and closer to this day of Armageddon. To the point where cities are going to be demolished. Missiles are going to be flying. To and fro, left hand center, right hand center. Missiles are going to be flying and hitting cities. It's going to get to that point. Okay? It's going to get to that point. So it doesn't really make a difference, like I'm going to say the third time coming. It does not make a difference whether you believe us or you don't, or you think we're funny or you think we're chimpanzees. It don't make a difference. Okay? Because who you think are chimpanzees standing out here, bringing out this word, they're going to be found out to be correct. And then it's going to be known that a prophet have been among them. Okay? Yeah, so read that again, brother Baba Kusha. Yeah.
This is Ezekiel 33 and 33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet have been among
so
them.
So what's going to come to pass? Ultimately, this nuclear war, where missiles are going to start flying all over the place. And billions of people are going to have to die. So when that comes to pass, when they start seeing missiles flying in the air, everyone's going to revert back to the Israelites. The crazy guys on the street wearing the robes. Oh, these guys are right. Should have listened to these guys. Oh well, it's too late. And then you're going to have the 2/3 of our people. They're going to come in lastminute.com and they're going to be praying to the Lord. Yahweh, what's his name? Yahweh Shah. But meanwhile, the missiles are getting ready to come and hit his ass. So this is what's getting ready to happen. All of these countries are getting prepared for war. So let's go back to Joel, the 3rd chapter, shall we? Yeah, read that again, yeah.
So Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles.
And that's what we're doing right now. We're proclaiming this amongst the Gentiles. Go on.
Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near.
Right, it says, I'm laughing. When the brothers reading the scriptures, I can visualize the war that's happening. That's why I'm laughing. And people are just oblivious to what's going on. As in the days of Noah. You know, it's just funny, man. The people are just stuck on stupid vanity. Meanwhile, the world is crumbling apart. The Roman Empire is getting ready to go up in flames.
That's right.
Let's read some more on that, man.
So Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war.
Yeah.
Wake up the mighty men.
Yeah, prepare war, wake up the mighty men. Now, that's going into something else. The military powers of every country are getting prepared for war. That's why it says, wake up the mighty men of war. In other words, the Lord is stirring these nations up. This is why they've built their nuclear missile arsenal. They're building on their military. They're building on any form of thing that belongs to war. It's because they know one time or another it's going to get to that point where they're going to have to use those weapons. Okay? And believe you me, the everyday John and Jane that you see walking past you, they will be affected by it. They may be thinking they're not going to be affected by it, but guess what? Now what you're going to have to do is research history, right? Something that happened 70 plus years ago, which was World War II. The regular civilians were affected, and Britain got affected by World War II. Okay? So if they got affected by World War II, how much more World War III, which we're already in the midst of, which began in 1991. Okay? And like I'm going to say the fourth time coming, we at the Great Millstones, beginning with the apostles of Great Millstone, have been speaking about this Iranian situation. That America would do something to Iran. This and that and the third. And we've been bringing out these scriptures. This is nothing new to us. Go on.
So Revelation 9 and 12. One woe is past. And behold, there cometh two woes more
Right,
hereafter.
so the woe is referring to the world wars that occurred. You had World War I, which took place between, 1914 and lasted 5 years, 1919, if I'm correct. Okay? 1918, or going into 1919, so to speak. So that was World War I, and then you had the Second World War, which started in, 39, right? To 1945, I believe. So, but it says that the third war cometh quickly. And people were affected by these world wars. So the third world war is going to be the war to end all of them and to end all of these empires.
That's right.
We're in the Roman Empire right now. This is just one of them that's going to be destroyed. Okay? Great Britain is going to get involved in it. And what's going to happen dealing with Great Britain? Great Britain is going to side with their allies of Europe and destroy America. That's in Revelations, what is it?
17 and 16, I believe.
Right, the 17th chapter. Yeah, please give me that.
So
Because really what's supposed to go down is Britain and the EU, they're supposed to come together due to this situation. But Britain is saying we're not interested in this situation. We backing out. We don't want no parts of this. All right? Like my man Rob said, man, we not interested in this. This situation needs to de-escalate. Go on, bro. And even the BBC anchor, he even said, look, man, this is a proxy. He was reading the news teleprompter, and it said proxy. Live on BBC. Go on, bro. So pretty much America's by itself now. But what have we been prophesying about? That America's going to be destroyed by way of nuclear destruction.
that's right.
We've been preaching about this for years. And now look what's going on. It's happening. So we may look bugged out. We may look like crazy black guys wearing robes or whatever. But the crazy black guys wearing robes are going to be found to be correct. The inconsiderate. Okay, those that are considered to have low IQ, right? I mean Israelites. I mean Israelites. You know, because people think that Israel's a bunch of stupid people.
Yeah.
Okay, which were the real Israelites. That's why I use the term Israel. We're the real Israelites. So they think that the real Israelites are just the dumbasses. But again, like I said last week, this is why you don't underestimate the lower God, because the lower God can gradually creep up to knowledge and understanding and tell you what that does. Okay? And this is what's going on right now. We telling them, look, do what you gotta do, because it's all gonna lead to your downfall anyway. Even if they come against the Israelites, that's gonna be to their downfall. Even if they get involved in this nuclear war, that's gonna be to their downfall. Every little way that they go is gonna be to their downfall. So where do you go? Just accept your fate. Go on, bro.
So Revelation 17 and 16, and the 10 horns, and the 10 horns, which thou sawest upon the beast,
Right.
these shall hate the whore.
That's the European nations. They're gonna come together and they're gonna hate the whore. The whore is a symbol of America, which is riding the beast that represents the 10 horns, or the 10 dragons, the 10 heads. Excuse me. So she's riding on the beast, but they're gonna turn up against her. So what's gonna happen is as we can see clearly due to prophecy and paying attention to what's going on in the news, what we can clearly see now, those that are in tune with the news and prophecy, correct myself again, we can clearly see that America is going to be destroyed and the European nations are going to turn against America. All right, it's quite clear. And even, what is it, Macron, the Prime Minister of France, he's not getting involved in this either. And by the way, speaking of prime ministers, the Prime Minister of this country here, Boris Johnson, guess where he's at? He's talking about the prison's elites, when he's supposed to be speaking about what just occurred. So these guys, they don't want to get involved in it, man. The allies of America, they don't want to get involved in this Iranian situation. They don't want to get involved in it because it's too heavy of a situation to deal with. So they'd rather not even do it. But just by them being silent, enough says that they don't want no parts of it. They backing out. Go on, bro. So let's read that.
So Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore,
Yeah.
and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
Yeah, so how is that going to be done? How is her flesh going to be eaten? Is this literal? This is why people don't get the Bible. Because they don't have the spiritual eyes to see what it means by eat her flesh. Is those nuclear missiles are going to be shot from these European countries and it's going to destroy America. That's what that goes into. Okay? So it's inevitable and it's already written in scripture to take place. But before all of these things take place, as the scripture says in the book of Matthew, it says that the end is not by and by, right? Because other prophecies have to take place. The RFID chip has to take place. The mandation of the chip. Okay, the persecution of the saints, which we are the saints. Okay, so those things have to happen before the missiles start flying all over the place. Go on, bro. But we're just speaking on this subject matter right now.
So,
Yeah, go. Yeah, leave that. We're gonna read some more on this now. Yeah.
Okay, continuing on this article. The US bears responsibility for all consequences of its rogue adventurism.
Yeah.
Zarif wrote on social media. Iraqi officials and the state television reported that aside from Soleimani, am I saying it right? Soleimani, I might mess it up a few times. Soleimani, Iraqi militia commander Abu Mahdi al-Mahandis,
And meanwhile, keep this in mind. He was second in command. Go on.
was also killed in the pre-dawn raids. Iran's IRGC, as well as Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces, PMF umbrella grouping of Iran, backed militias, also confirmed the deaths of Soleimani
Yep.
and al-Mahandis.
Yep.
Sources from the PMF earlier told Al Jazeera that the rockets destroyed 2 vehicles carrying high-profile guests who had arrived at Baghdad airport who were being escorted by militia members.
Right.
Earlier reports said 5 other people were killed in the raid.
Right. Yeah, so that's pretty much going into something else. But the point being is the point of the matter is that they killed someone that was very influential. A great man in that region. Okay, even the people of Iraq respected him. People in Syria respected him. All of these people. So when you kill a guy like that now, and he was second in command of Iran, now you're asking for trouble. And now these guys are saying, oh, it was a miscalculation.
Yeah.
But really, it wasn't a miscalculation. It's the spirit of the Lord getting this war feud up. That's really what it is.
That is so
Because as we've been preaching for years, before we even came on the scene, right, that a third world war is going to happen. And we've been reading the Bible.
that's right.
Okay, we've been calling ourselves the Hebrew Israelites, the real Jews. Now people will walk past and look at us, oh, they're Muslims. Because they're simple. They don't inquire anything. They just look and they they see a bunch of guys with beards, or they're Muslims. We're Israelites. That's what we are.
That's right.
So the Israelites have been coming out here for years and proclaiming the word and telling you what the deal is going to be. And now we're reading about it. Okay? And this is why we don't really care about what people think or what they feel about what we're saying, because it really doesn't matter what they feel and what they think. Okay? If what people thought and what they felt and what they think, then by those 3 things that I've named, their thoughts and their feeling and what they're saying, if it mattered, then it would change the world, wouldn't it? It hasn't changed the world. People have been protesting for years. Their protesting has not changed the world. what's been going on is that the elite, beginning with the elite, and also the prime ministers, they've been changing the world, not the people. So if people's thoughts and feelings and words doesn't change the world, then we shouldn't worry about it, man. And it damn sure ain't gonna change prophecy from happening. All right, what's gonna happen is what we say, because we're the future governors of the next world. On top of that, and we're going by the word of God, what the word of God is saying. Go on, bro. So we're not going with this, I feel or I think. We're not dealing with that nonsense. Because in the reality, there's no what I feel, what I think. That doesn't exist. What exists is what's written down by the word of the Most High, and that's going to take place. Now let's read that.
Al Jazeera's Osama bin Javad, reporting from Baghdad, said the deaths are a significant turning point in Iraq and the entire Middle East. He said the
Read
region.
some more on that, because I said I was going into something else. But yeah, keep going.
He said the region has already been on edge since the US attack on PMF, forces near Iraq's border with Syria,
Right.
and the protests at the US embassy in Baghdad and
You better
Tuesday.
believe too, the Israeli government is involved in this somehow, some way too. Go on.
This is a major blow on the relationship between the United States and the Iraqi government.
Right.
Bin Javad said it is a precious, precarious situation in which the significant development is taking place. The US act of international terrorism targeting and assassination General Soleimani, the most effective force fighting Daesh, ISIS, Al-Nusra,
And we all know where ISIS comes from.
Al-Qaeda,
And we all also know where that group comes from too.
et al. Is extremely dangerous and foolish
You
escalation.
got certain groups that are formulated by other powers, by Western powers. Okay? That's why you have a term called proxy wars. Go on.
The US bears responsibility for all consequences of its rogue
And
adventures.
it does, because as they say, it was a miscalculation, which it was, but the Lord led them to make that miscalculated move to bring forth prophecy. Go on.
Trump posted an image of the American flag on social media.
What's that?
Trump posted an
what
image
did-
of an American flag of a social media. Speaking of this,
Right.
Trump posted an image of an American flag on social media
Yeah, I saw that too. I did see that.
following the news of Soleimani's death. US Senator Lindsey Graham, an ally of Trump, said the death of Soleimani is a major blow to the
And it is.
to the Iranian regime
It's caught a lot of hysteria.
that has American blood on his hands.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So it's just going to get worse. It's going to get a lot more worse from here. Like I said, we've been preaching about this for years. Now it's coming down. Now it's here. Now what can you say? Oh, you can't say we're crazy now anymore, can you? Go on, keep reading.
Meanwhile, US Senator Chris Murphy, an opposition member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, warned that the incident could set off a potential massive regional war.
And it can. Absolutely. It can. Because that's where it's going to lead to anyway. It's going to lead to that point. Okay? Because the Lord set this kingdom up, just like how he set other empires up, to rule for a particular moment in time, and then at the end of the day, they're going to go down. And this is the way Babylon the Great is going to go down. Okay? So they're going to continue to make these miscalculated moves, which is going to be read in by the Father, and more things are going to take place, right? And it's going to lead to this war. Go on.
In an interview with Al Jazeera, former US Assistant Secretary of Defense Lawrence Korb said there is no doubt that the US wanted to target Soleimani
Yeah, right.
for a while. Korb predicted that Iran could retaliate by launching asymmetric type of attacks that do not risk an all-out confrontation with the US.
And the reason, another reason why they killed the man is because it's also they want to provoke Iran. It's more of a provocative move. They want them to do something so that they can further have a reasoning to come down on Iran. Because I want to bring also to your attention, what did Wesley Clark say in 2004?
Was that the guy that was killed? Yeah.
Yeah. Salami.
Osama Soleimani, his name is.
Tongue-tied.
Yeah, so anyway, let me forget what Wesley Clark was saying, because Wesley Clark made a statement about this letter that was given to him concerning the countries that he would conquer. In 5 years, 7 countries, right? Yeah, here we are right here. Global warfare says, so this is out of the mouth of Wesley Clark. It says, we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years. The first country is Iraq, which was in 2003. The second was in Syria, which they're currently in Syria today. Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iraq. So the last was on the list is Iraq. So he was bringing that out. What is it? What year are we in? We're in 2020, right? 16 years ago. And what he was saying was, look, they came to him. And they all sat down on the desk, and the man put out a piece of paper. And I'm just fast forwarding what was going on, right? So, and it was pretty much confidential, as he said. And what the piece of paper stated is that they would go after these countries, these 7 countries. So Iraq was the first country which they happened to go down there in 2003 behind this 9/11 thing, right? Or what is it, the weapons of mass destruction thing. So they went down to Iraq just so they can enter into the interiors of what is Syria and all these other countries. Okay, but the last country that they really wanted to get into when it's all said and done is Iraq. And if you notice, the media is pinpointing Iraq all of a sudden, going all the way back to 2014 during the Obama administration. Okay, but meanwhile, China and Russia has interest in it. So when you're messing with their money, you're asking for problems, man. Okay, you're asking for trouble that you can't do it. Go on, bro. Yeah, so let's shoot that, man.
Americans throughout the region need to be on guard. We are now in an incredibly dangerous situation.
Absolutely. Oh, yes, they are. They are in a dangerous situation. Oh, yes. Go on.
It is an incredibly dangerous course that we are on. Leverett told Al Jazeera.
Right. So that's all we need to read. And that's where we are in the world. That's where the environment's in. We're in a dangerous situation now of no return. That's where we're at in the world. You see? So let's read Numbers 33, verse you know the one where it says woe to you that establish a time by blood. No, that's enough, man. You've read the point. As I was saying, man, that's going into something else, but it was going into some juicy stuff I heard.
Still something more interesting.
Nah, but it's all right, bro. Yeah. Yeah, so we're in a dangerous situation. The world is in a dangerous situation now due to what occurred. And it's gonna get worse, it's gonna get worse, it's gonna get worse. And it's not going to stop. Yeah, Numbers, you know where it says